On this episode, we're going to be covering dogs that panic during thunderstorms, dogs that chase vehicles and air bites, what tools to get dogs started on, leashes, collars, and why, and a little bit more on episode 39 of Dog Behavior Question Tuesday. What's up, guys? This is Blake Rodriguez with Dream Come True Canine, and this is episode 39 of Dog Behavior Question Tuesday. We have a lot on our plate. We're actually shooting this a little early. I've yet to read through these questions, but we're going to go ahead and really dig deep, get started, and get this to you on time early on Tuesday. So first question is from Canine Cardio. Hey, Blake, any tips to help out for our German Shepherd dog who lunges at vehicles going at high speed and air bites at cars in the vehicle? The only thing we were successful with was the e-collar. He had a trainer come along on the walk and said my timing was right, on which most of the time stops him, but often he will have an after reaction after the car passes. I'm lost for what to do, thanks a million. Okay, there's a couple things we can kind of look at. Overall, I would say that the dog needs to practice relaxing a bit more in situations and watching out for levels of concern. Your dog should practice place often. Your dog should practice chilling out, laying down. You should get your dog in the car, work on holding the down position instead of your dog going from window to window, even if it's excited to see mom or dad or your best friend, or that it's going to that really cool off-leash destination. As far as remote collar stuff, if you trained and done it right, it's really good, but you have to make sure that the timing's not being done in a way where it's getting corrected and then thinking that it has to make that car go away in order for that sensation to stop. A lot of times, timing is seemingly working, but the end game, you have a dog that gets more frustrated and more agitated when it sees it because it thinks that it's going to get corrected. So we have to look at a couple of things. If your dog you have good timing for the initial, you have to make sure that you understand that the job might not be done. You have a dog that responds a certain way, but is still nervous to go back. So providing space if you're walking on the street is very important, giving the dog a little bit more time. Also having a leash or remote collar in the car while you're moving to have the dog hold it down. Get the dog to practice that. I'm willing to bet the dog is going to struggle to do that. Work on that being the problem, and you won't have a dog that gets to the point where it's lunging and stuff really looking. You really want a dog to not be in that position. So think of it this way. We don't want to help our friend behave appropriate. Angie, you might have to stand on opposite side if you see, so people don't cut through. We don't want to work on your best friend behaving better when they're shit-faced drunk. Pardon my French. What we want to do is we want to avoid getting your friend shit-faced drunk, right? Because your dog your friend makes better choices when they're not ridiculously drunk. Your dog's going to make better choices when he's not focused so much on what's going on, and that's a start. Down the road, we can allow him to kind of see stuff and correct it appropriately, but right now we need to start one step back and get that physical where he can actually relax in the vehicle a bit more. So that way, if he sees cars, he's already in an appropriate state of mind where he's relaxed versus being like this already and then actually seeing a car, right? So that's really important. I actually didn't even show who we had here. Really quickly, a dog that arrived today, Wilson. Wilson's with us for 5 weeks. He just arrived today, and he's got some serious possessive behavior, along with issues with skateboards. I just saw that concern right there, and really not good with men. So this is a little bit of a bonding experience. We're bringing him with us. Next question is going to go to DC Fit. How can you train and condition a dog who panics when alone during a storm to the point that they are trying to escape the house to chill out some? I've done everything from thunder shirts to Xanax. I only reward calm behavior during storms when we are home. That has helped a lot. But if she is alone, everything seems to go out the window in her panic state. She's at a point too, if we're gonna use the alcoholic situation, she's at a point right now where, let's say she just got out of rehab and she's doing really good. You don't want her in a bar by herself or leave her at home in a house that has alcohol in it, right? Obviously, you can't control that when it comes to like thunder and all that stuff. So music can help for keeping music, on, something that drowns out the noise a little bit. But what you need to start doing is you need to start working your dog more when you're around. Your dog might seem to not panic as much, but you might be to some degree coddling a behavior, which makes it seem like the dog is doing better, but the dog is actually just using you as a crutch. When you're gone, the dog doesn't know how to function. So if your dog is a dog that's trying to escape, what you need to do is not let the dog escape to you. You need to have the dog hold a place, have the dog be in a crate, hold a down position, learn to relax a little. You should also start working your dog for food and mealtime over a soundtrack. Now, the cool thing about this soundtrack is you need to do this every day. You can't just practice this when the thunderstorm comes about, because a thunderstorm is not consistent. If you don't have consistent practice, you're not going to get consistent results. You can't practice during the test. The thunderstorm is the test, and your dog needs more studying, right? So what you need to do is feed your dog, and every time that sound comes on, which you can control the volume so it doesn't have to be that loud, that's feeding time. Your dog might miss a couple of meals, but eventually your dog is going to have to prioritize. And as long as your dog is healthy, your dog is not going to starve. As long as you're not feeding your dog treats and your dog is getting the bowl if it doesn't eat over here and over there, eventually your dog is going to have to learn, well, I'm not getting hurt by this, and the sound's not too loud, maybe I'll just take a bite. And I might do it nervously, but at least I'm going to step in the right direction. Start working on that. And then what I would suggest is if your dog is freaking out in a crate, this actually could be a matter of life or death. So if you already remote collar trained your dog, you need to maybe use a drop cam or something where you've already practiced interrupting a dog for breaking place outside and then going lower and having your dog go into a down when they feel that. So when they panic, you can be on a drop cam outside or watching your dog through a window, and you can pop the behavior for the dog trying to break, get that to stop, maybe lower, and then hold the button and ask for it down. If you practice that enough, the dog should go into it and start to realize that firm correction came from me trying to escape. You've stopped it, but now you're gonna go lower because you took the brain from here to here. Now you're gonna go lower. Hold on one sec. New York City for you. Now you're gonna go lower and you're gonna hold the button, and the dog should go into a down and go, oh, that's hard, but at least I'm learning to relax. So we're dealing with a form of anxiety. You have to practice this every single day with food. It's super, super, super important. And that should really, really help you. And then also there has to be a correction for behavior. You can't correct the dog for being afraid. Drugs are not gonna help. Xanax is not gonna help. Thundershirt is not gonna help. It might be a nice piece to the puzzle if you're teaching your dog to be relaxed, but putting a shirt on, hoping for the best is not gonna do anything. So you need to practice that. That's really, really important. And get to the point where you're also, like I said, you can't correct a dog for being afraid, but you can correct a dog for inappropriate behaviors and breaking it down and doing things that they know how to do and they're good at. So practice getting your dog to that point, and then you should be in a better place. Whew. Storm lives matter. How can you train a dog who is extremely people-friendly and dog-friendly to stop diving at people and walk nicely on the leash and ignore people? Really important. So, couple things. You're in a position where you probably, thanks man, you feel bad that your dog is doing an inappropriate behavior or performing an inappropriate behavior because it's not bad, right? So, oh, he just wants to say hi, so I feel bad correcting it because I don't want him to be afraid of people. And I get that to an extent, but at the same time, the behavior is inappropriate. So a lot of these, all these answers fall back into a form of impulse control. What you need to start practicing is like when you come home, when your husband or your wife comes home, or your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad, whoever it is, and they love you, having your dog hold a position, having your dog not go crazy and excited to see you, teaching your dog how to get your affection. You're not correcting them because they're seeking affection, you're correcting them because of the way that they're going about getting it. I'm not mad that my brother wants to make more money. I'll be mad at him if I see that he's trying to stick somebody up and rob them and stick up a bank, right? So the money is not the issue. Seeking affection is not the issue. How the dog is going about it is the problem. Your dog needs more impulse control. Your dog needs to understand leash pressure better so you can interrupt that. One of the things that we're doing with the dog that's with us right now, we actually had two dogs. So we had a dog that was nervous of people, and what we did is that person held the treats and the food, and that's how, for holding it down, someone could walk to you, pet you, and give you food. In your situation, yours is like Vicente the Bulldog. So for Vicente the Bulldog, what we're doing is that person cannot hold the treat. when he's lunging and he's breaking, I interrupt that. Nope, he looks at me. I've already taught eye contact. I've already taught it down. I've already taught leash pressure and remote collar. And now what we have, thanks, brother. And now what we have is, a dog. The guy was about to run in, and Andrew had pretty much bodied him, and he got mad. Now what we have is a dog that knows these things, and we can take these things and we can begin to apply it where I interrupt the behavior. I tell someone that wants to pet the dog, hold up 1 second. If he's lunging towards you or he's going towards you, I'm going to interrupt that. I'm going to ask for a down. You're going to stop and maybe back away. And then when he's good, I'm going to have you approach again. If you're approaching and he's lunging again, I'm going to have you stop, back away. Nope, I'm going to correct that. Good, maybe give him some food, a little bit of a pet, good, and then I'm going to use good markers to have the dog hold a position. Your dog needs to learn the markers, so go back in Dog Behavior Question Tuesday and look at how we use the markers, check out how we're doing things. We actually, either tonight or tomorrow, will have in our blog post every single question and answer that has been asked on every single episode of Dog Behavior Question Tuesday. So you're going to be able to actually search through those in a more seamless way. So look through those, and also check us out on our Facebook page. You'll see some videos of what we're doing with Vicente to really have him hold a position and understand that getting affection, basically holding this position pays. People come to you to pet you. You going to them results in a correction. People come to you, they get pet, and you get food. So basically, good behaviors pay, other behaviors get corrected. Don't do that, and just teach him what you'd rather do. Eventually, teaching him what you don't want is going to be much easier, if that makes sense. Let's see where we are. Last question is from Dog Trixie, and this is your first question. So welcome. What's up, brother? Welcome. Thank you. Hope to see more of your questions in the future. So the question is, Ellie is a 6-month-old female Australian cattle dog mix. What type of leash should I start training with? I've seen your recommendations, the prong, but I'd like to try something else first. Thanks. So a couple things. You can pretty much use what you want when you want. The only thing is you have to really understand what you're trying to accomplish, right? The prong, when used right, has the ability to be very, very soft and also intense if needed. But usually when you're teaching, if your dog doesn't have behavior problems, you can be softer on that tool than any other tool on the market. The real question that I would ask is, yeah, you could use other things and your dog might be fine. Like what we tend to go to is we use halties because they use pressure release, prong collars because they use pressure release, and slip leads because they use pressure release. But if you have a dog that's like a massive puller and a dog that really is checking out and doesn't know how to listen, walking a dog on a halty or a prong collar could be more, or a halty or a slip lead could be more damaging than that. Walking a dog on a harness, a back clip harness, will allow the pulling. Walking them on an easy walk will, long term, if a dog is pulling, do damage over here. So it's kind of like saying you want, what's the best way to learn how to horseback ride, and I'm recommending using the reins, and you're saying I know your recommendation, but I want to try something else. So try riding the horse bareback and see how it works for you, and you might find that you actually want to use the reins, because it's not only easier for you, it's easier for the dog to comprehend, but it's all a matter of clear communication and being smooth. So you could try a slip lead, you could try a halty, but if a dog doesn't know leash pressure, a dog can pull and choke themselves on a slip lead. Same thing with a martingale, especially with a flat buckle collar, you know what I mean, or anything else. For the easy walk harness, you can get that crab kind of dog that kind of feels pressure and just goes against it with their weight. So prong, halties, and slips are our go-tos. I think I would do a little bit more research into learning how the tools are used rather than, just, I don't know if I want to try that, because usually if someone doesn't want to try that, it's because it looks scary, they've heard bad things, or they don't want to get ridiculed because other people will look at it and go, and think something about it. But if you understand how to use it properly, it's kind of like a no-brainer. It's almost like, saying, hey, I know how to lose weight or put on muscle at the gym. I know it's going to require me to change my diet of what I'm eating and go to the gym. I'm looking for another alternative, like to working out and to changing my diet. What do you suggest? So, I mean, you can do things and get results to a degree, but hard work is what pays off. So if you put in a little work and you learn how to kind of do these things, prong collar all the way. But to answer your question, halties, which is different from gentle leaders, halties and slip leads are our go-to outside of prong collars. All right, and that is it for dog behavior question Tuesday, episode 39. We will see you guys next week for episode 40. Take care, guys.